All right, we are live streaming, and I am, wait 1 second for it to come up on YouTube. There we are. We are live streaming. Let me pause that.
And I am.
There we go. We don't want to listen to ourselves live stream. I think that happens.
No, we do not.
Yeah. So hi, you guys. Hopefully people will come on, and I believe there we are. Oh, stop. Is it still doing that? Close. Okay. So we will be able to see the chats. So that's good. I'll be able to see if anyone's asking questions while we are on. So hi, everyone. And I'm going to put this on record here. So hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Kimberly Barrett. I'm a psychic medium, ascension coach, and starseed activator. Welcome to all of the beautiful lights who are listening live and watching this at a later time. Feel free to ask questions and let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you resonate with the content and would like to support the channel, just a little reminder to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you can be notified of further content. I have a very special guest with me. It is Melissa Rocha. She is a dedicated healer who has had the privilege of working with people from all walks of life, from business owners to musicians, fellow healers, even seniors getting ready for the next chapter in life, and children. She is a certified shamanic intuitive energy practitioner and mindset coach. She works closely with higher energies to bring answers, guidance, and healing to her clients, family, and friends. She's a true believer in the power of now and has created and experienced many small miracles in her life by living more intentionally and consciously. And I can attest to that from having met her and worked with her and received messages and healings from her. So I 100% tell you that this is absolutely an amazing, amazing divine feminine that is on with us today. So Melissa will be sharing with us about the power of mindset, the impact if we don't question our beliefs, and the power, and I love this capital letter power, right? Our power back. The power to create your life you want in every present moment. So I am going to turn it over to Melissa and just have her introduce herself a little bit more.
Oh my goodness. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for having me on your show today. To be honest, I'm feeling a little bit nervous, which is very interesting.
That happens when we step out of our comfort zone, right?
Right. It really is. Yeah, the power of now. Just exactly what's happening right now, just getting stuck in the thoughts, not being present, and then going through the motions and like, what is it that you're feeling? What is it that's stopping you from moving forward? In making your decisions, or to be present with whoever's in front of you. Where should we go with this conversation?
I love this. So I know a lot of my listeners and myself, we struggle a lot with running into fear. And also when you're building the life that you want and then start to pull it down on you, like you start to step out and then like things happen where it like pulls you back. So anything that you have to talk about how we can make that shift and make that shift stick, and even like tell me more about living like really fully present in the moment. Just any of your guidance in that way would be helpful.
Yeah. So a big part of, I guess, what stops us from being present are those negative internal dialogues that goes on within our mind. Those internal dialogues that often happens comes from our previous beliefs, or that we were taught when we were really young, whether it's just listening from how our parents interacted with one another, how our teachers have communicated with us in the past, whether if it was with our grandparents even. And also, as a child, we are always looking around at our surroundings, and we are learning through our environment, through every interactions. And as we grow older, if we are not aware and if we're not conscious to those thoughts or beliefs that we've adopted at a younger age, then a lot of times we're just living in a mental repeat of what's going on in our life right now. We're
That
going
makes
through,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So then it'll be like, oh, nice to meet you. Nowadays, people are like, what is it that you do? Instead of saying who you are as a person, like, hi, nice to meet you, and trying to get to know it, just what do you do? Or like, but instead it's like, and then you regurgitate, or sometimes you just, have this script of like, this is who I am. But we are at a point of our life where we have so much information where it's like, okay, well, now I can say, is my story about myself still holds truth? Like, is that still who I am? So if we're unaware, sometimes we're just repeating like, oh, this is what I did, this is who I am, da da da, and just repeating, just like on autopilot. And then we get up to a point where it becomes really aware. We can actually re-examine, okay, well, these set of beliefs no longer serves me because I'm evolving to become whatever version of myself that I'm looking to become or want to be. And then as you shift those thoughts from who you were or who you think you were to, okay, I'm conscious and I'm present to this moment. How do my thoughts right now support who I am and who I want to be? And those stories that we share about the past, whether it's like trauma, whether if it's like something as simple as like one small incident that could have happened when we were younger, those things can actually impact us up until whether if we turn 20, 30, 40, 50, and that becomes our story. So if we don't re-examine our stories, we don't re-examine our beliefs, we continue to live in that pattern of who we think we are, who we think we like, just keeps repeating that.
That makes complete sense. And I was talking to someone earlier today who is a medium, and she's really been coming out in her mediumship. And what she finds gets her stuck is not her ability as a medium. She's very, very good at it. It's what you're talking about, those patterns that come up where she lacks the confidence, or she has these stories that she tells herself that she's blocked, or there's something that's not right about her, and I know for myself, I fall into that like, well, there must be just something wrong with me. It must be because there's something wrong with me. And it's like same patterns. And as you were talking, I was like, I could see where what you do and how you help people can be helpful in like relationships, in growing a business, in just moving forward in your life in general, and becoming like more of who you really want to be, in alignment with like of who you could be.
Yeah. And what's really powerful is to use those fear as a tool to actually just propel us forward. Recognizing what might make us feel uncomfortable, we can actually use that to help us. So, like, say, for example, um, the best thing to do is to step out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And what that looks like, it's like, I'm so comfortable, I think my life is going great, everything's good. And when you say, oh, I have this dream, this is what I want to do. And if someone asks you, okay, well, it's great you have this dream, but like, what does it look like? If we don't break it down in our mind, if we don't actually examine what this dream looks like, it continues to be a dream. So like, a lot of times people who are in the spiritual world, it's like, oh, I trust that everything's going to happen. Everything's going to happen according to plan. That's a big part of my life. Just like, kind of like, oh, I trust the universe,
I
to
trust
stay
it's all going to
happy.
unfold, but I also need to be deliberately intending.
Exactly. And going back to the beliefs, if we have these beliefs where we don't deserve it, all these like
Mm.
conditioning, like these beliefs that we hold on to as a child, or that we've been repeating to ourselves for so many years, if we don't re-examine those beliefs, then we're still gonna just be like, oh, everything's gonna work out and really have to do much, and just, and then the impact is that sometimes if you don't take the action, then you're not going to get the results that you want. And the action actually requires you to like take a look at what it is. What do you need to do? Create steps. And then as soon as you write it down or you create it, it's like, oh, it's too big or whatever it might be. And when you start feeling those, what are those like, what are those steps that I need to take? And then it'll make us like, sometimes it'll actually make us want to shrink in some ways. Because then I'm like,
I
oh,
feel like
now I
singing,
actually.
I feel like singing that song, The Story of My Life. You're completely describing. I mean, I've made a lot of breakthroughs. I've really stepped through a lot of discomfort. And recently I've been challenged to like completely step forward and like do some things really different. And what I find is I get these intuitive thoughts about what to do. And then I get myself distracted and not doing them. And I really
Mm-hmm.
believe that it's what you're talking about, that if I don't check my core beliefs and I don't check, what's really going on there, if I don't really sit with that, and I probably would want to get some professional help around it, to see what's really going on there that's keeping me from stepping forward, right? And that was
Yeah.
our advanced mediumship class, that it wasn't about the medium and their ability to get evidence. They were all like really powerful mediums. It was more about when they're doing the mediumship, not giving up too soon. And, and you just said the main thing is playing it small. So talk to
Yes.
me about so the impact of not looking at our beliefs, from what I just heard you say, is that we end up in the loop and we end up not moving forward and we end up not getting where we know we want to be in life. And I can
Mm-hmm.
100% say that. Talk to me about tapping into this power to create your life in each present moment. Like, how would you describe? I would say, like, start with your story. What led you to this? Like, share a story with us about what you went through without, that you weren't questioning your beliefs and you were living a certain way. And then that power to create the life that you want in each present moment. I think that's a great way to go about it, is describe your direct experience with it.
Okay. So I just want to start with the beginning of my journey, like you said. So what created this drive and this passion within me is just like when I was in like when I was like 15 years old, just like a young child. So I worked in a nursing home and worked with hundreds of seniors. And as a child, I would question like, how come, they don't look too happy? And I would sit with them and I'll do different activities with them. And, I've always questioned like, how come these people are saying the same thing over and over again? And I was really young and unaware, but like there was a part of me that just knew that there were other ways to live. Because, I see that like as a young child, like, I'm like, that's kind of like, they're on repeat, like on a loop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So being in that loop, as a child, I'm like, oh man, like I've always wanted to like figure out the mind, like just figure out like how to do things differently. So I actually did a therapeutic program with a group of residents with Alzheimer's. During my therapeutic program, I did this activity with them for a span of like 2 months. And seniors with Alzheimer's, they have long-term memory, not short-term memory. And I didn't really believe that in my core. That's what I was told by teachers or the coordinators at that time. I was like, okay, so I was still new to like this world because I was very young. Then I was like, okay, and I'm all about creating breakthroughs and miracles since at a very young age. So
You were just
my
born to
goal,
do this. You've had this calling.
yeah, it really did start at a very young age. So then so my goal was to have one of the residents to remember my name. And that's really far-fetched, supposedly. The second class that I was with her, the second workshop that I did with her, she, as the moment I walked into the room, I laid down. So we did this like, I had the suitcase with like this therapeutic, like a spa kind of thing. It's called It's a box. So I did a spa theme. And the moment I sat down, I was like, hi, Charlotte. She looked at me, and in the past, she would call me her granddaughter. She looked at me in my eyes and she goes, Melissa.
She
I sat
remembered.
there, I cried. Like, I cried so much, even
You
just sharing
had
this
that
moment with.
impact on her. That is amazing.
So, there is a part of our brain, even if we don't believe it, like, there, that's why I call this a small, like, to me, that's a small miracle.
It's a miracle. Yeah.
So for her to remember my name the following week and then the week after that, I just knew that in my bones that there is like our brain is not fixed. Like it's malleable. And that like, if someone says, that's not true, I'm usually the one that goes, like, let me show you. Like, let me just prove
Let
it
me
to
show
you.
you how to disprove that. Yeah, because we don't play
Yeah,
by the same human rules around here.
we do not. We really do not.
Human
And
rules are
then
meant to be broken.
and then I've been very blessed to have like so at during that period of time, I worked with seniors with Alzheimer's for many years, and then I was very blessed to be able to work with children with special needs
Mm.
in a group home, and to see like just it's really see children suffer. And especially, children, it wasn't their choice to be born into this world, I feel. And that, um, you know, so I worked in a group home when I believe I was like 18, shortly after that. And then when I was with them, I was like, okay, so I really looked at it like, okay, if they don't have the perfect caregivers, people who actually really, 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 really care and have that patience for these group of children or just like these children in the world, um like you know they're just going to live a really not so happy life. And that, like, for me, it's like, what am I going to do about that?
Right. How can we bring that love energy into that?
Right. So when I was working with them, in every moment, I remember I was very conscious of how can I make this moment more beautiful for them? How can I make the next moment more beautiful for them? Oh, I was very tested. I was tested many, many, many times. I've had my hair pulled out while we were in the mall, and then you have to stay calm, cool, and collected and really practice. Like I was given the gift to be present and be loving from moment to moment to moment, to not
No, well,
allow
what
that.
happens? That's the challenge that I've been talking about on here is you get your hair pulled out in the mall by a child and you're still staying calm
Right. Because then now you have to tap into your
because
love.
it's
It's not
about your
about me.
response. Yeah, it's your response and it's not about you. Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of in life, like whether if you're doing something like um if especially healers, I would think like just being able to put yourself out of the situation, coming from like neutral state and just coming from love and just being that channel, being that love is so important, I feel.
I
And I
think
was
you
really
put a magic words in there, which one is being in that neutral zone. So being able to find the neutral, that mindfulness, being able to find the neutral rather than going into an all or nothing, good, bad, right, wrong, that type of stuff, being able to be in that neutral. And then you're talking about bringing that love energy and that compassion into it.
Yeah, it is so important. I feel like it's so easy to go to the part where like we make things wrong, this is not right, to come from judgment, to come from like just like imposing, like just basically the normal dialogue, whatever
I
that
mean,
looks
like
like.
impose my will on stuff and my mind gets judgmental and
And I believe that like
taking it
we can
personally.
transform,
Yeah.
and we can
Yeah.
transform that norm, really. And when we transform it from like starting from here, I feel like everything outside of you will start to reflect what you feel on the inside. And I know a lot of healers or a lot of people already know about this, like people who are
A lot of the
in growth
healers,
mindset.
but not everyone understands how important it is to change on the inside of you in order for your outsides to change. We're so programmed, and that's what I was hearing when you were talking about beliefs, is we're so programmed into looking outside of ourselves.
Hmm.
That what I'm hearing from you is that introspection is looking within you and shifting from within you and
Yes,
getting focus back on your response, not what's going on outside of you.
that is that is so true. Yes. So
Yeah.
I've
And all
been
of us are trained in upbringing, in TV, in movies, in the way that the world runs and the humanness of it are trained into that, like playing victim, the victim, rescuer, persecutor triangle. People get really caught in that, all of those type of things. And this is about, you sound like Eckhart Tolle with like the power of now. This is like coming into your now moment and responding
Mhm.
from there. And I love what you're saying. Like in that present moment is when you can transform.
Yeah. So in every present moment, we have the power in every present moment to redirect our thoughts. Notice how we feel. And in every present moment, if we can just come from our commitment, what am I committed to? Am I committed to anger, or am I committed to being a victim, or am I committed to greatness? What does that look like? Like, so what are we committed to? And I think like a big part of it is to really also re-examine our values, our beliefs. Like, do we, our values, like, what is, and also, oh, sorry, something happened.
Okay, say that one again. And also commitment. Is that what you said?
Sorry, my headphones
You're
died.
good. You said, and also commitment.
Yeah, and also our commitment in every moment. Like, I'll give you an example. So I took care of both my grandparents. They both lived up to become centenarians. So this is another, like, I believe in miracles. So I moved back to Toronto about 14 years ago. I was a personal assistant to a musician, but my grandmother had a fall. So I studied gerontology. Then the moment she had a fall, I just flew back to Toronto and I just took on being their primary caregiver. And in the 14 years that I took care of my grandparents, or grandma especially, there were many moments where I was really tested, because really, really tested. And I can say there's only one moment where I actually got upset. And I made it about, because she was talking about something that was that was very important to me, such as
You
whether,
got triggered.
yeah.
Yeah. Our
So
triggers
she
are our
triggered me
friends.
only once though in the 14 years but in the 14 years I took care of her, only once. But even up to today, so a big part of what I truly believe in is to live with no regrets, to do your best that you can do for the people that you love, for moment to moment. So like really, like, so let's say I'm a daughter. My commitment as a daughter is I'll be the best daughter that I can be. So what does that look like? What actions will I take? How do I treat my mom? How do I speak to her?
what does being a good daughter look like? And then I act upon that. So like that gives me like a guideline of like what I should
That's
suppose.
beautiful. You could do that with everything. So what would being that loving mom look like? You know,
Right.
it's not always in, the parents that are out there, that's not always um giving the child everything they want. You got to be the best
That's right.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I
So
love where you're going with it. So you're taking care of your parent or your grandparents
yeah,
and discovering how important and you have a path like I did where I did hospice for 10 years, hospice and palliative care, primarily gerontology. So there's a lot of that understanding how important each moment is, how
it
important
really
being
is.
in the now is, how important being current in the relationships, right?
Mhm.
Not being caught up too much in self, right?
That's right.
Um, self-care is important. That's different than when you're taking everything personally, right?
Yeah. For me had always been my commitment. So like over the years, um, my grandmother, she passed away 106, a little more
Wow,
than a year
106
ago.
years old, seriously?
Yeah, I've always believed in miracles. Like for
I've
me, my
been
goal is I'm gonna get them to live for as long as they can. I believe that people can live a long, happy life, and I'm a true believer of
That's
that.
massive. You're bringing like miracle after miracle because I have been with people in hospice up to like 103, but to have a grandmother 106, wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
love her so much. Yeah, so caring for her. So this is something I've also learned about, like being in the present moment. There were many moments where, as a main caregiver, it would have been like, oh, it's too stressful. Oh, this is too much. Oh, what am I going to do? And make it about me. In those moments, I had to consciously redirect those thoughts to my commitments, consciously redirect those thoughts towards what is important, because it's not about me. When you care for someone, it's about that person that you're with. And especially like if your commitment is to, make life great for someone that you really love, what actions do you need to take? It's not only just actions, but like how do you communicate? How do you get yeah. So it's really just coming from commitment from moment to moment to moment to moment. Because it's very easy to fall into the caregiver burnt out and like it was too much. And I totally
That's
understand, like
easy to fall into. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really is. It really is. And, and those of you who are caregivers, to your family members, to your grandparents, whoever it might be, like uh, acknowledge you for, taking that time and like spending it with your loved ones. Like we're creating memories. That's what life is all about. It's creating beautiful memories with our loved ones. It's not about just only like chasing after things, but life is all about beautiful memories. So,
I love
yeah.
what you're sharing because I helped a woman that was like a mom to me in a way in Arizona. And she was 85 or 86 when she broke her hip. And three of us helped take care of her. And I had a lot of overnights. And I remember that when I was just fully present in the moment, I was fine. But every time I was in fear or when I was making it about me and how I felt, it wasn't. And then she
Mhm.
was on a medication that was making her mean. So that made it
Oh,
even more challenging because she was, I think the word that she used was cantankerous, right? So she was more difficult.
wow.
And to really be able to, I think I would handle it a lot differently today than I did then. That was many years ago. Um, being able to bring what you're talking about, that full presence and also that love energy into it, and remembering that commitment to like really making
Why are you there?
every, yeah, making every moment count and really being present for that person and bringing that love energy to them. I did really well for the most part. when you talk about the communication, we had to sit down with her and have some communication around how things were going and what we would like from her. And we had to do that in a really loving way and a real present way. And she responded to it. She understood, what was going on. And I think she lived well into her 90s before she let go, in spite of breaking her hip.
Yeah. Miracles happen everywhere. If you're
And I love it.
around,
You reminded me
and like just be. What's that?
No, I was just thinking, I didn't mean to talk over you. I get excited. You're reminding me of Wayne Dyer saying, I don't just believe in miracles, I expect them.
Yeah. I would say I'm still a little bit like, yeah, for me personally, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, I guess, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I can say I expect them to. And I feel like that's the only way to also transform, like, our world, the world around us, is to like really like, especially acknowledging that, like, not playing small, and just to know that if you really come from a good place, if you're always operating from love and your commitments, and like just knowing that your intentions are good, why not step into your power? Like, it's
Talk
okay.
to me more about you stepping into your power and starting to like really come out as a healer and as a coach. Like, talk to me about, because I know for a lot of coaches, you're stepping out, and I think it helps the public to hear what you go through to really like be seen and step out, especially as a healer that's a coach.
So I think the most important thing that I've learned is to ask for help. Really. Because
you see me laughing. I'm like, oh, really?
Ask for help. Like, really, like, when we are stepping into our power, it takes a group of people to come together, to join their energy, to create something even bigger than what we know, I guess. And when we ask for help, when we, reach out, then that's when like miracles happen. Because the universe will start aligning you with like-minded people. And the more you ask for help, the universe can hear you, and they will bring in more people aligned with you, and it will continue to, you help them, they help you. And that just creates that flow in energy. Like, we don't have to have it all figured out.
You. I know why you're
What's
in my
that?
life now. I love you. I know why you're in my life, because that is exactly what we've been talking about, is, really being able to ask for help. And, some of my friends and I have been talking about that, learning how to delegate some stuff, ask for help, and community. We're going into fourth density. It's a little different than consciousness, the fourth density on the earth, and that's Earth Mother Gaia's heart chakra. And in the heart chakra, we're coming out of that solar plexus that tells us how you use your power. So you can see all the power struggles of what we've been through for the past like 250,000 years, right? All of that. We're going into the heart. And in the heart, it's compassion, it's cooperation, it's collaboration, it's community, it's win-win. It's not.
It really is.
I love what you're saying in that way. And I was just thinking, can you think of a time when, they talk about imposter syndrome, right? You're familiar with that. When you're stepping out into your business and you're getting out there and you're helping people, and not just business, but just like getting out there and getting your voice out there and getting to know people, where that came in for you and how you overcame it.
Okay. I would say I'm a little bit fortunate in a way where like, so I know this is going to sound probably a little bit silly, but ever since I was young, I've always been like very positive, very like caring.
See, I would call you a star seed. You came in already there.
Yeah, and all my friends, like most of my friends, most of my family members, they would say like, oh, you know, she's too happy or she's being too much.
You're too much. That's what you get, the too much, because you're happy, you're big energy, you're optimistic, you understand things, you see things, you feel things, you know things. And then what happens? Everybody tells you you're too much.
So when I actually so when they told me I was too much, I guess like I was really operating from like just being authentic. Just that's just who I am. And I never really like when I was younger, I never really allowed other people's thoughts get in my way. I'd always like lived on my own terms. Like I've always trusted the universe. I'm like, oh, I know I'm doing this because I'm supposed to be doing this, even though whether if it's dating the wrong people or whatnot, I just know that I can like, you know, help these people.
Sometimes you're supposed to date that one so you can like learn all your lessons.
Yes, when we were younger though.
Yeah. When you're younger,
Yes,
not now.
but when I started to like when I decided, okay, you know what, I need to share whether it's energy healing or coaching to the rest of the world. I remember I started by doing, well, this was like 6 years ago. I didn't want to do a website because I'm like, oh, you know, healers, I had all these beliefs where like healers need to be broke. That's one thing. Because if you have money,
You've had to overcome some of that stuff. Yeah. Talk about that financial piece, right? Like healing
yeah.
is supposed to be broke. What helps you break through that one?
Well, that's when I discovered that you need to value
Oh, you're
yourself
breaking up.
first
Hold on.
before
You're
other
breaking
people
up a
can
bit.
value.
Say that again. You started breaking up a little bit. Oh,
Yeah. So
internet.
before sorry, can you hear me?
I can now. Your
Yeah.
internet broke up
So
a little.
you can hear me now.
Yeah, you're on now.
Yes?
Keep going.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so the way I overcame that was I was taught, well, so everyone around me, like they're successful, they're doing good, but I created a store where it's like healers need to be, you know, you got to start with nothing. Oh, and another key thing is watch what you listen to. Okay, a lot of times we like people who does a lot of like self-help, listen to this, listen to that. You listen to other people's story about like, oh, well, I started with nothing, or I started with nothing. There can be a chance that we adopt someone else's belief and take it on and be like, oh, okay, well, I need to start with nothing in order for me to be heard by other people. And
Which is not always true.
I don't know if that, what's that?
Which is not always true.
It's not. And that's why being present, being aware of like our stories and beliefs are so important. Because a lot of the beliefs we picked up from like here and there and here and there. And then we took it on like, maybe this works. And sometimes maybe it's just not yours. You just need to come and tune into your truth, being present and staying with your commitments. So how I overcame that was to recognize that, well, in order for me to serve other people, I also need to take care of myself. If I don't value myself, I was told by a few healers, not only healers, medium, but like they reassured me or gave me like readings where they say like, you know, like they acknowledge my power or my ability or the whether it's doing a reading and to really know like, oh, okay, well, it is real. Like I can receive money. Like it's okay instead of giving everything away for free. It's okay to get paid for what you do, and then have to go through the own self belief. Okay, well, yeah. So going through that.
Yeah, and that's an important
very
message. Yeah, that's an important message that I'm hearing from you is really doing that inner work and identifying the thoughts that are there and then being able to sort through and see, oh, these beliefs are not working for me. And if you didn't question those beliefs, you wouldn't be where you are today, which is like helping a lot of people, right? And that's
yeah.
pretty, you know, and it's living that being in the present moment this is what I heard you saying, that it's from living in the present moment and becoming aware of the thoughts that are going on. And I'm so glad you're talking about that, because I have just been through like this really interesting time where I was like, how am I going to pay rent? And then I just like surrendered the trying to figure it out myself, just totally like surrendered. And I know that all of you have been helpful in that, because I have a community of people that support me, like you said. And I finally surrendered it all, and things started falling into place. If I don't charge for services, I can't help other people. I can't support myself and be able to do this service full time. Right. Now, I've also done some major trades that have been really amazing, but there comes a point where you have to recognize that it's okay. Money's just a spiritual means of exchange, and to like change those core beliefs. That's what I'm hearing from you. There's a lot of healers now really going down the path you're talking about, of like discovering it's okay to charge, and it's okay to have that spiritual exchange of money in order to help more people, more impact.
Yes. Yes. We've had enough time to hone our skills, our ability.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you don't have your offerings that are free, because you're going to have those. But I think of like this guy, Brian Ridgway, where he does 90% of his stuff's free. But if you go to see him, you're going to pay some money if you see him individually. But he helps more people by being able to, right?
Yeah.
And he knows his value. So that's the other thing I'm hearing from you.
Right.
You had to also, what helped you not play it small anymore? What do you think was the biggest thing in helping you not play it small?
I would say just seeing people suffer from firsthand, like just seeing people who are still stuck in their stories, still stuck in their poor me, victim. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's
okay if people are in that. It just gets them stuck, right?
Yeah. And to know that the impact of that is that if they don't realize it, then they're going to live the rest of their life the same way, just repeating the same thing over and over
in
again.
that loop, in the same pattern over and over and over and over again. And I've come out of some of those. So everything you're saying is viscerally like, yeah, I remember being in this pattern of me, the victim of my grandmother. And when I finally healed all of that, my life changed.
That's wonderful. My another one is also one of my cousins. So I know that like as we're on a spiritual journey, there's a lot of energy that goes on around us. A lot of people with mental illness, they're not given the tools that they need before they were diagnosed or labeled to actually hone their power, to hone their gifts, to actually like own who they are. Yeah. So that was the big thing for me, to like see all these people being labeled like, oh, I have bipolar, or I have this, and I if I can only tell them what I know, but like they're on a different journey. So the only thing that I can do is respect their current journey and to support and assist however way I can, but not imposing my view either. Because I feel like that's a big part. Like if people are not going to lift, people can't hear your words, they're just not ready for it.
Yeah, and I love that you're saying that, because I just did an advanced mediumship with a young lady who, there are people, because I've worked mental health. So I know there are people that really have issues, and that's something that they need to do. For her, it was the opposite story. It was that she was labeled all of this stuff only to find out that she's a medium.
Yeah.
Like it was medium and healing trauma, which I helped her with. Right. So it's like clearing that out. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I make sense.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And you,
So it's not everyone. I have worked with someone who really was in a schizoid, and like the paranoia was really, like really, really, that was like mental illness, right? But
Mhm.
there's a lot of us, and that's why I taught dialectical behavioral therapy, because a lot of it you can get out of by living in the now, which is Marsha Linehan's dialectical behavioral therapy, is all about being in the now, being in awareness, identifying thoughts. You take it that step further in like really looking at your beliefs, really looking at your values, and then actually, and you're one of the coaches that I've heard this from, is taking the action, right? What helps when you have, it's sort of like you have these ideas come up and you know that you want to step forward and you know the actions are there and you get stuck and you're not really taking the action. What helps you move toward taking the action? Does that make
okay.
sense?
What will help? So in that moment when you're present to, oh my gosh, I don't want to do whatever it is, I would say stop, stand up, and just shake. Just get out of your
Stop
head
standing
for
up
a
and shake it
second.
out. Get out of your mind. This makes
Just
sense.
shake it
I'm going
out.
to practice this.
Just shake it out first. Just really be with your body, reconnect, and then just take a deep breath, become present again. And then you can ask, like, you can re-examine that thought again. And you can ask it, why don't I want to do it?
Where, what's holding me back? Where, what's really going on here? And then to be able to move past that. That's so in the present moment. I love you for that.
And sometimes, like after the shaking, a lot of my clients are like, oh, I feel better. Like they get out of their head already. They're already out of their head. And then they're like, okay, I'm clear. So with a lot of practice, it's just really getting out of that moment and not being too attached to that negative or low energy thought, and to just replace that with the next high vibrational frequency thought that aligns with your commitment and your purpose.
So that's where the work comes in. I'm going to tell you guys, this is an amazing coach. So I'm going to give you her info. It's melissaarocha.com. That's the website. So melissaarocha.com. And then also you can look her up on Facebook under Melissa Rocha. And she is amazing. She offers intuitive readings, energy healing, mindset coaching, which I'm so excited about, monthly in-person transformative workshops, sound bowl healing, which I love. And I might have you wrap us up with a little bit about why crystal bowls are so helpful. Her sessions help remove obstacles and blocked energies. You can connect more fully with your truth, purpose, intention, creativity, wisdom, and love. So I just wanted to throw it out there that you're just absolutely an amazing healer, an amazing coach. And the crystal sound bowl healing, my understanding is with the sound healing, it bypasses that human ego, that thinking.
Yeah. Thoughts carries vibration, instruments carry vibration. And during a sound healing session, basically, you're just healing on all levels. You're being still, you're feeling that vibration. And the vibration from the bowl actually just clears any stagnant energy that is within your body. And in that moment, it's kind of like being in a spa. You lie down, you listen to the sound. And for some of my previous clients or some of my clients, they're like, right after his sound bowl healing session, they're like, did you have on a speaker? Felt it going through my entire body.
They could feel it
So,
resonate. Yeah. So you guys,
yeah.
Melissa is absolutely amazing. And we're just about out of time. So I just wanted to wrap it up.
Okay.
We've talked about the impact if you don't question your beliefs, how powerful it is to step in your own power and create the life you want in each present moment. And I thank you for that little tip on like, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, and that everything is energy. So is there any last, like,
Just shake it.
last, yeah, just shake it. You're cutting in and out just a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with our internet, if that's you or me. Doesn't matter. Are you there? I think I'm losing her.
Yes, I am. Can you still
There
hear
you
me?
are. Yay. So that's what I love about live. Because I practice the spirituality of imperfection. So
Oh, that's
everything is
beautiful.
absolutely imperfect. It makes me so happy. Anything that you would like to say to my listeners before you sign off?
Okay. I would say just continue to come from your commitments. Like share your love share your love to the people around you. You know, a simple smile can transform someone's world. Like the most smallest gesture can like just make a world of difference. So you are love, like, you know, and the more you listen to your heart, your truth, and just follow that, not going into the doubts, you know, the doubts that's
Not going into this thing.
just back into your heart and just know that you're love and just operate from there, you know. And the more you do that, the more you're using your inner compass. You align your heart with your inner compass, and you're going to live a beautiful magnetic life.
I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you for having me. You're such a beautiful light.
And you are such a beautiful light. And I am so grateful to share you with all of the beautiful lights on Sharing Love and Light show. So we will sign off now. I love you guys. Thank you, Melissa.
Bye.
Yay.